The US Senate has passed an historic $1 trillion infrastructure package to rebuild the nation's roads and bridges, as well as fund new climate resilience and broadband initiatives. The vote was uncommonly bipartisan, with President Joe Biden labelling it as something the American people have wanted and have been asking for a long time. Joining me now live is our Sky News US contributor, Michael Ware. Michael, is Joe Biden right? Is this something that has been desperately needed?
Well, it certainly has. And you can tell from the bipartisan nature of the agreement in the Senate, where this package passed by 69 votes to 30. Now, that means 19 Republicans, including the Senate Majority Leader, voted for this. And the reason why is that this package is pretty widely popular with the American voter. Something like 70% of Americans want to see this infrastructure package go through. So as a result, what is a huge win for President Biden's agenda is also the first bipartisan achievement, in what seems like forever. But there's still a bumpy road ahead. I mean, this first package for $1.2 trillion, we can call that for hard infrastructure: roads, bridges, high-speed internet, ports, airports, rail, as you say, climate resilience. So that's all the kind of things that people can agree on, and around half of it is already funded. But it still has to go now to the House of Representatives. And there we're seeing the rubber hit the road, because it's laying bare the true stresses within the Democrat Party. This tension between the moderates and the progressives, because in the House, Speaker Nancy Pelosi has shackled this $1.2 trillion infrastructure package to a much more ambitious $3.5 trillion infrastructure package. Now, that package is much more to the progressives' liking, because that doesn't just do the bricks and mortar of infrastructure. It looks at increasing assistance for home care and childcare. It wants to introduce universal pre-K education. It wants to provide, 2 years guaranteed free of community college. And that list goes on and on. Now, the problem is, Nancy Pelosi says it's a consensus within her caucus that one package does not go through without the other. So to some degree, people are saying that Nancy Pelosi is now holding this bipartisan achievement hostage to push through this much bigger version. And already we're starting to see cracks in the seams. Nancy Pelosi says the Senate's got to pass the big $3.5 trillion before we'll pass this one. Well, moderates say, look, let's take the win. The first one is done and dusted. Let's pass that, and then let's address the bigger one. But she won't have a bar of it. And so already we're seeing moderates like Democrat Senator Joe Manchin express serious concerns with the much larger package. And that package is going to involve increased taxation for those who earn over $400,000 a year. And it aims to raise the corporate tax rate. So potentially it withers away all the goodwill amongst the voters for this bipartisan infrastructure deal. And so President Biden and his White House are going to have to thread a very careful political needle. And one last point on the Republican support in the Senate. Those 19 Republican votes came despite former President Trump booing it from the sidelines. He made essentially a purely political calculation where he condemned those who were going to vote for this from the Republican Party because he says simply, we can't give Biden any kind of policy win, despite the fact a lot of people want this.
Yeah, well, there you go. Michael Ware, we have to leave it there. Thank you for joining us this morning.